Title: A Starship Was Sent to Watch. A Simulated Battle That Changed It All Part 1. The observer mission, the ISS Vigilant Dawn, drifted silently through the cold darkness of space, a lone human vessel surrounded by the brilliance of alien engineering. From a distance, it looked small, almost fragile, next to the massive warships of the coalition of galactic powers. Each alien vessel shone with strange colors, their hulls shaped by species that had explored the stars for thousands of years. And among them, the human ship looked plain, practical, and old-fashioned. Inside the command deck, Captain Elena Merrick stood by the forward display window, her hands clasped behind her back. Her dark uniform was simple, lacking the decorative markings that alien officers wore, but her calm eyes reflected something no symbol could show: determination. "Status report," she said quietly. "Orbit stable around the Coalition's primary carrier," replied Lieutenant Rains, the ship's navigation officer. "All systems normal. We're holding position as ordered." Merrick gave a short nod. Around her, the bridge crew worked in silence. The air felt tense, heavy with the feeling that they didn't belong there. The Vigilant Dawn wasn't there to fight, or even to train. They had been invited only to observe a massive simulated battle, the largest the Coalition had ever attempted. To the Coalition, this was routine. To humanity, it was history. The Coalition of Galactic Powers was an alliance of 23 advanced civilizations. They ruled most of known space, sharing technology, trade, and defense. Humanity had only joined their diplomatic network a few decades ago, still considered a young, untested species. The Coalition often called humans energetic or brave, but rarely wise. When invitations for their Great War simulations were sent, humanity's role was clear: watch and learn. Captain Merrick understood the message behind the invitation. It was polite but dismissive. "You may observe us," it said, "but you are not ready to stand among us." Still, she had accepted the mission without hesitation. "Even if we're just observers," she told her crew before departure, "we'll watch carefully. Every detail matters. And if they underestimate us, good." Now, as the alien fleets gathered across the sector, she wondered what humanity would learn from this spectacle. Far below the Vigilant Dawn, in the emptiness between stars, enormous fleets began to move. The Coalition's ships were organized by species, each showing off their distinct designs. The Verne Coalition fleet shimmered like flowing water, their ships bending light around them. The Krell Dominion, reptilian in origin, fielded sharp triangular warships with bright green plasma trails. And at the center, the Zathar Grand Command, the most advanced race of all, formed the core of the operation. Their ships smooth and silver, almost alive. The battle was not real. No shots would be fired, no ships destroyed. Every vessel was connected to a network of advanced simulations, calculating complex war strategies faster than any human could imagine. The Coalition's leaders believed these simulations were the key to perfection, a way to test and evolve their tactics without the cost of real war. Humans were invited to observe this great exercise and learn from the best. The Vigilant Dawn had been given an observation channel, a feed showing the data, communications, and tactical maps of the battle. Every move, every counter-move would unfold before them like a living puzzle. Lieutenant Commander Aisha Patel, the ship's tactical officer, leaned over her console. "Captain, Coalition Command just confirmed the start time. Simulation will begin in 10 minutes. "Understood," Merrick said. "Let's see how the great powers wage their wars." The lights on the bridge dimmed slightly as the massive holographic projection came alive. Stars, fleets, and movement filled the air above the central platform. The alien admirals began their battle, their ships dividing into elegant formations. The display showed waves of fleets maneuvering with mathematical precision, no hesitation, no confusion, no mistakes. "It's beautiful," whispered Ensign Kell, the youngest member of the crew. "Yes," Patel replied softly. "Beautiful and cold." For the next hour, the humans watched as the simulated fleets clashed. Each alien faction used its own style of warfare. The Krell focused on brute strength, overwhelming their enemies with numbers. The Vern relied on stealth and fluid movement, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. The Zathor commanded the battle from afar, calculating every variable, predicting every move. Merrick observed quietly, but something bothered her. Everything felt too perfect. She turned to Patel. "Freeze the last 5 minutes of playback. Look here, do you notice it?" Patel studied the data. The Zathor fleet predicted the Krell attack before it happened. "Exactly," Merrick said. "They're not reacting. They're expecting." "That's the simulation's learning algorithm," Patel explained. "The system evolves as it runs. It learns patterns, predicts reactions." Merrick frowned. "But it also means every commander here is predictable." Patel looked up, surprised. "You think the AIs are fighting each other?" "I think," Merrick said, her tone thoughtful. "The AIs are doing all the thinking for them." Hours passed. The simulated battle became more complex, but the humans began to lose interest. Every move followed a logical chain, every decision optimized by code. There was no surprise, no emotion. The aliens were proud of their precision, but the crew of the Vigilant Dawn saw something else: a lack of imagination. In the crew lounge, some officers gathered during a short break. Rains poured himself a cup of coffee. "We could run circles around them," he muttered. "Careful," said Kell, smiling nervously. "You're talking about the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy." Rains shrugged. "Doesn't matter. They're slaves to their systems. Everything they do is calculated and safe. You know what wins wars? Risk. The willingness to make the crazy move when logic says no." Patel overheard and joined them. "Captain's been saying the same thing. Maybe we're watching perfection, but not greatness." "Think we could do better?" Kell asked. Patel paused. "Maybe not with their ships, but with our minds?" "Yes." Back on the bridge, Merrick received a communication from the Coalition Command Network. The face of an alien admiral appeared, a tall, blue-skinned figure from the Zathor species named Admiral Thalrin. His expression was calm, polite, but there was a trace of superiority in his tone. "Captain Merrick," Thalrin said, "we hope your observation is educational. You are witnessing strategies perfected over centuries. I trust humanity will find this enlightening." Merrick smiled faintly. "Indeed, Admiral. It's impressive." "Impressive?" Thalrin's eyes glowed faintly. "It is flawless. Our simulations contain no error. We predict and adapt faster than any biological mind could. Perhaps one day your people will approach such mastery." Merrick kept her voice even. "Perhaps. But sometimes, unpredictability has its own value." Thalrin tilted his head slightly as if studying her like an insect. "Unpredictability is chaos. Chaos is failure. That is why we simulate, to remove it." The channel ended before Merrick could reply. Rains muttered under his breath, "I really don't like that guy." Merrick turned toward the viewing window, watching the distant fleets continue their perfect, meaningless war. "Let them play their games," she said quietly. "We'll play ours." That night, the Vigilant Dawn's crew stayed at their posts. Patel began recording the simulation data, feeding it into the ship's tactical AI, Athena, a learning program designed to mimic human command instincts. Unlike the Coalition's AIs, Athena didn't optimize for perfection. It learned from mistakes, uncertainty, and instinct. Merrick watched as lines of data scrolled across the screen. "Athena," she said, "run a private simulation, same parameters as the Coalition's, but use human tactics." "Acknowledged," the soft, calm voice replied. Running scenario. Minutes passed. Then the results appeared. Patel's eyes widened. "Captain, we're winning." Merrick leaned closer. "How fast?" "Every version ends in under 15 minutes. Human strategy outmaneuvers theirs every time." Merrick's expression hardened. "Keep it quiet. We're only observers, but if our simulation is right..." She paused, eyes reflecting the glowing stars outside. then maybe we're not the ones who should be learning. The first part of the Vigilant Dawn's mission was nearly complete. The Coalition's simulation would run for 3 more days, but something inside the human ship had already shifted. What began as observation was slowly turning into curiosity, then challenge. For the first time in centuries, someone had dared to test the galaxy's perfect systems. And far away, deep within the data networks of the Coalition's simulation, Athena's hidden algorithms began to ripple through the digital battlefield, a quiet whisper of human unpredictability moving among the stars. The Vigilant Dawn had come only to watch, but soon it would change everything. The first light of the distant star cluster reflected off the hull of the ISS Vigilant Dawn as it maintained its silent orbit above the Coalition's training sector. Below, the holographic projection of the Battle of Akar Prime glimmered, expanding across the observation chamber like a miniature galaxy. The simulated fleets moved with eerie precision, every ship's course calculated in real time. Humans watched, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and quiet skepticism. Captain Elena Merrick stood at the bridge's central console, her gaze fixed on the projected fleets. Around her, the crew worked efficiently, recording data, analyzing patterns, and quietly discussing tactics in low voices. Despite their calm appearances, the air was electric with excitement. No human had ever seen anything like this. The combined might of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, all playing a war game with unimaginable complexity. Simulation starting in 5, 4, 3. A mechanical voice counted down. The fleets stationary just moments ago leapt into motion. Swirls of alien ships formed intricate formations, weaving around each other with almost artistic elegance. Plasma streams cut across the void, and tactical shields shimmered with colors beyond human vision. "Look at that movement," whispered Ensign Kell, his young face illuminated by the projections. "It's perfect." "Perfect, yes," Lieutenant Commander Aisha Patel replied, her voice quiet but firm. "But perfection can be predictable," Merrick nodded. "That's exactly what I want us to see. Watch not only the ships, but their decisions, their choices, and notice what they ignore." The first wave of the simulation focused on the Krell Dominion, known for their aggressive tactics. The Dominion's triangular warships surged forward in disciplined lines, a storm of firepower designed to crush the Vern fleets. The Vern, however, responded with speed and elegance, slipping between attacks, striking where the Dominion had not predicted. The holographic display made it easy to follow every maneuver, every misstep. Reins pointed at the screen. "They are repeating the same patterns. Every engagement is a calculation. No improvisation." Patel leaned forward. "Exactly. The Krell think only in brute force. The Vern respond only within parameters the simulation allows. The Zathar fleet isn't participating yet. They're the neutral observers until the mid-phase. They're waiting for data to adjust their strategy." Merrick tapped her fingers against the console. "They don't realize that adaptability is a human strength." She paused, glancing around at her officers. "Every pattern has a flaw. We just need to find it." Hours passed as the simulation unfolded. Each alien fleet displayed astonishing coordination. Their moves were calculated down to the second, their counters flawless. But to the human observers, something felt empty. Every engagement lacked instinct, risk, and unpredictability, the qualities that defined human strategy. Patel studied the feed, eyes scanning for anomalies. "Captain," she said quietly, "I think we can predict the outcome of this simulation before it even finishes. Every fleet is following logic designed to remove mistakes. They are all bound by their own algorithms." Merrick leaned closer to the display. "Good, that's the edge we need. Observe, learn, and note where logic fails, where calculation cannot account for human intuition." Kell frowned. "Intuition? We're watching super advanced fleets, Captain. How can intuition compete with trillions of calculations per second?" Merrick smiled faintly. "Intuition is not calculation, Ensign. Intuition is recognizing the unexpected. Machines can calculate, but they cannot risk. They cannot surprise themselves or others. That is why humans still have a place in the stars." By mid-simulation, the Coalition fleets had expanded into the central sector. The Zathar Grand Command finally entered the field. Their silver ships moved like a living organism, anticipating the movement of every Krell and Vern vessel. Their actions were precise, calculated, and elegant. Even humans could see the logic, the patterns, the almost flawless execution. "Captain," Patel said, voice tight with excitement, "the Zathar are not just playing. They're testing every possible outcome before it happens. They're playing multiple games at once, predicting every move. If we were to interfere, the simulation would detect it immediately." Marek nodded. "We are not interfering. We are learning, but secretly her mind worked differently. What if there were a way to test their logic without breaking protocol? The human mind could think in ways machines could not, seeing connections, making leaps, improvising strategies the Coalition never imagined." She turned to Athena, the ship's AI. "Run a parallel scenario. Use the same parameters as the Coalition simulation. But this time, do it with human-style tactics. Risk, unpredictability, and improvisation." Athena's calm, soft voice replied. "Acknowledged, Captain. Initiating parallel simulation." While the Vigilant Dawn continued to observe the Coalition fleets, Athena ran its private scenario. On a hidden terminal, ships moved differently than in the main simulation. Instead of following strict patterns, the vessels shifted unpredictably, feigned attacks, and retreated only to strike again from unexpected directions. The display showed humans taking risks that no alien fleet would consider, sacrificing short-term safety for long-term advantage. Patel watched in amazement. "Captain, they're winning. Every scenario ends with human strategy outmaneuvering the Coalition's best." Marek's lips curved into a small smile. "Perfect. Keep it quiet. The Coalition must not know. This is just practice." Meanwhile, Admiral Thalrin of the Zathar species monitored the simulation from the Coalition command network. On his massive observation platform, he glanced at the human ship through subspace communications. Humans were only observers, and yet their presence seemed to influence the subtle flows of the battle. "They are not participating," Thalrin murmured to his officers, "yet the simulation reacts differently when they are present." His aides looked puzzled. "Admiral, the humans are passive. They cannot influence the outcome." Thalrin's glowing eyes narrowed. "Perhaps. Or perhaps they introduce an element we do not calculate, the unexpected. Observe closely. Watch their methods. There may be merit hidden in chaos." Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Captain Marek did not know that the Coalition's attention had shifted subtly. Their simulation algorithms, designed to adapt to every possible variable, had detected the unusual patterns of human observation. Even passive observation introduced unpredictability that no algorithm had prepared for. As the day progressed, the simulated battle reached its mid-phase. Fleets clashed in massive formations, exchanging virtual firepower that lit the holographic skies. The Krell Dominion tried to encircle the Verne, but Athena's parallel simulation found maneuvers the aliens had never considered. Every attempt the aliens made to predict outcomes was countered by human creativity in the hidden simulation. "Captain," Patel said with quiet excitement, "Athena has found a sequence where human strategy consistently defeats the simulated fleets. Even the Zathar cannot anticipate these moves. It's incredible." Marek's eyes shone with quiet pride. "We are not here to fight them. We are here to prove something else. That human thought is not bound by the same rules as machines or aliens or algorithms. That is our strength. Always has been, always will be." Kel, who had been silent for hours, finally spoke. "Do you really think they'll ever see that?" "The Coalition? After all this time, we're just observers." Marek looked at him steadily. "Perhaps they won't see it until we show them. But they will feel it. That is enough for now." As night fell on the distant star system, the human crew continued their observations, quietly recording every detail. Outside, the holographic battle raged on, a perfect, dazzling display of logic, discipline, and order. Inside the Vigilant Dawn, a different kind of battle was being waged, not with weapons, but with ideas. And in the hidden parallel simulation, Athena continued to explore human creativity, unpredictability, and improvisation. Every maneuver, every decision was a quiet challenge to the Coalition's assumptions about perfection. Every small victory was a whisper. Humans are not to be underestimated. For the first time in the Vigilant Dawn's mission, the humans were not just watching. They were learning, testing, and in their own way preparing to surprise the galaxy. The stage was set. The Coalition believed it was the master of simulations. But humanity had already begun writing the rules of its own game, and when the time came, the galaxy would see that unpredictability, courage, and creativity, traits humans had carried across the stars, could change everything. The stars outside the ISS Vigilant Dawn glittered like scattered diamonds across black velvet. Inside the ship, the bridge was alive with quiet activity. Holographic displays flickered with endless streams of data, showing the Coalition's fleets as they moved through the simulated sector of HFY. The humans had been observing for hours, but now the simulation was starting to behave differently, in ways the crew had not expected. Captain Elena Merrick stood at the center console, watching carefully. Her crew worked efficiently, scanning every tactical feed, every maneuver, and every change in the holographic battlefield. For the first time, the humans noticed that the simulation was not only running its pre-programmed scenarios, it was reacting to their hidden parallel simulation. "Patel," Merrick said, her voice calm but sharp, "look at the anomaly near Sector 9. The Zathar fleet is adjusting formations in ways we didn't predict." Patel leaned closer, her brow furrowed. "It's as if the simulation knows something, but how? We haven't interfered directly. We've only been observing." Merrick's eyes narrowed. "Observation alone can be disruptive. Athena's parallel simulation is introducing variables the Coalition system wasn't expecting. Every human-style maneuver we simulate is like a ripple in their perfect calculations." Ensign Kell tilted his head, puzzled. "So, by just running Athena's simulation, we're affecting theirs?" "Yes," Merrick said. "Indirectly. They believe they control everything, but human creativity cannot be measured in formulas. Our unpredictability is slipping into their perfect system, and they don't know it yet." Athena's soft, even voice filled the quiet of the bridge. "Captain, the parallel simulation indicates a new pattern. Human-style strategies consistently outperform Coalition tactics in 85% of scenarios. Repeated runs show the simulation itself adapting to these outcomes. It is learning from human variables." Merrick's lips curved in a small, proud smile. "Good, keep monitoring it. But quietly. The Coalition must not suspect anything. Let them continue to believe this is just another flawless display." Patel leaned back, still watching the holographic battlefield. "Captain, the fleets are changing formations in ways that match our simulation outputs almost exactly. It's like the simulation itself is trying to mimic human unpredictability." Merrick's expression hardened. "That is exactly what I suspected. We have started a hidden game. A game they don't know we are playing." In the holographic projection, fleets moved like dancers in a complex ballet. The Krell Dominion attempted an aggressive encirclement of the Verne, but their calculated strategy faltered unexpectedly. The Verne ship split into unpredictable patterns, feinting attacks and retreating in ways no algorithm could fully anticipate. The Zathar's Silver Fleet adjusted continuously, trying to maintain control. But even they could not predict the human-style maneuvers that now influenced the simulation. "Captain," Rains said, pointing at the display, "look at the chain reaction. The Verne are reacting to moves we introduced in Athena's simulation. Every feint, every retreat, every calculated risk is altering the Coalition system." Merrick crossed her arms. "They are learning from us without realizing it. Their perfect simulation is beginning to evolve, with human creativity inside it." Kell leaned forward, eyes wide. "This is amazing. We're not just observing, we're teaching them without their knowledge." "Not teaching," Merrick corrected, challenging. "We are introducing variables that cannot be predicted. This is how humans win, not by perfection but by thinking differently." Meanwhile, deep within the Coalition's central command network, Admiral Thalrin of the Zathar species noticed something unusual. His monitors flickered with strange patterns. "Something is interfering with the simulation," he murmured to his aides. "What do you mean, Admiral?" one officer asked. "The humans are only observers. They cannot affect the simulation." Thalrin's glowing eyes narrowed. "Check again. The battle calculations are adapting to forces not in the network. There is an anomaly. It behaves like human thinking. Risk, creativity, unpredictability. It is not supposed to exist in this system." The aides exchanged uneasy glances. "Could it be a software error?" "No," Thalrin said firmly. "This is intelligence. Something external. Something human." Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick remained calm. She knew exactly what was happening. Athena's hidden simulation had begun to ripple into the Coalition system. subtly influencing fleet behaviors. What the aliens thought was perfection was now being tested by human unpredictability. Patel whispered to Marek, "Do you think they'll notice us?" Marek shook her head. "Not yet. And if we do it right, they may never know." As the hidden game continued, Athena began exploring bold strategies. Some were reckless, some were risky, and some seemed impossible. Yet every time, the simulated human fleets found ways to exploit flaws in the alien tactics. The Krell Dominion's aggression was misdirected, their predicted victories falling apart. The Vern's defenses were outmaneuvered in ways only a human mind could imagine. "Captain," Patel said, her voice tinged with excitement, "we are showing them something they've never seen. Their algorithms are adapting to our ideas and they don't even realize it." Marek nodded. "And that is the point. This is what humans bring to the galaxy. Intelligence is not only about calculation. It is about risk, creativity, and unpredictability. And the moment someone underestimates us, we will show them what that means." Even the youngest crew member, Kel, felt a growing sense of pride. "I always thought humans were ordinary, but this is incredible. We're changing the simulation without touching it." Marek looked at him, her expression firm. "We are more than ordinary. That is why we survive. That is why we excel. That is why the galaxy should never underestimate humanity." Hours turned into days. The hidden game evolved, becoming more complex with every cycle. Athena's simulation branched into multiple scenarios, each testing different approaches, each exposing weaknesses in the Coalition's supposedly flawless strategies. The alien fleets, unaware of the human influence, reacted with slight deviations, small enough that they thought it was part of the simulation, yet consistent enough to reveal a pattern. "Captain," Patel said, pointing at the feed, "we're seeing a chain reaction. The Zathar fleet is adjusting every move based on patterns they didn't create. Athena's hidden game is rewriting parts of their simulation." Marek's eyes shone with quiet satisfaction. "Exactly. We are no longer just observers. We are participants in a way they cannot control, and this is just the beginning." The crew worked late into the night, analyzing every maneuver, refining Athena's tactics, and predicting possible outcomes. They were no longer passive watchers. They were strategists, experimenters, and quiet disruptors. Kel leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. "Do you really think the Coalition will ever know it was us?" Marek smiled faintly. "Perhaps not. But they will feel the result. And that is enough." Meanwhile, Admiral Thalrin grew increasingly unsettled. His monitors showed subtle, inexplicable changes in fleet behavior. He could not pinpoint the cause, but he knew something was different. "Prepare a full diagnostic," he ordered. "Something in the simulation is learning from outside its programming. Track it, identify it, control it." As his aides scrambled to comply, the human crew on the Vigilant Dawn remained calm. They watched, recorded, and adjusted their hidden simulation, careful to avoid detection. Every move was calculated, but with a human twist, a risk that algorithms could not predict. Patel whispered to Marek, "It's almost thrilling. We're teaching them without them knowing. We're proving humans can think in ways their machines cannot." Marek nodded. "Yes, this is the essence of the human spirit: adaptability, creativity, courage. Not perfection, not calculation. These traits have carried us across the stars, and now, even in a hidden game, they are reshaping the galaxy's understanding of us." By the end of the third day, the hidden game had reached a tipping point. Athena's simulation consistently outmaneuvered the Coalition's fleets. The aliens, still believing their systems were flawless, noticed unusual results but could not trace the cause. On the Vigilant Dawn, Marek addressed her crew. "We have entered uncharted territory. We are no longer mere observers. We are testers of the galaxy's greatest systems, showing that humanity's strength lies not in perfection, but in imagination and courage. Remember this: every move we make, every risk we take is proof that unpredictability can defeat certainty." Patel and Rains nodded, understanding the weight of their role. Even young Kel, exhausted but alert, felt a surge of pride. Humanity was no longer just watching. Humanity was shaping. Humanity was winning. Quietly, invisibly, and brilliantly, and deep within the Coalition systems, Athena's algorithms continued to ripple, a hidden human hand guiding the unseen battle. The stage was set for a confrontation neither side fully understood, and when the time came, The galaxy would remember the lesson humanity had quietly taught. Creativity and courage could defy even the most perfect machines. The ISS Vigilant Dawn floated silently in orbit above the simulated sector of HFY, its dark hull reflecting the pale light of distant stars. Inside the bridge, the crew worked in tense silence. For days they had observed the Coalition's simulation, quietly running Athena's hidden parallel scenario. But now something had changed. The simulation was no longer predictable. The alien fleets were reacting in ways no one expected, and the ripple caused by human strategies was growing stronger. Captain Elena Merrick stood at the center console, watching the holographic battle unfold. Her sharp eyes scanned every movement, every formation, every deviation. For the first time, the simulation seemed alive, not just numbers and calculations, but something that felt like instinct. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Aisha Patel said, her voice tense with excitement. "The fleets are adapting faster than before. Athena's maneuvers are influencing them directly. Their algorithms are trying to anticipate our unpredictability, but they can't fully adjust." Merrick nodded, her mind calculating possibilities. "Good. That is exactly what we wanted. Keep monitoring Athena. Every maneuver must be precise, but human in style. Risk and creativity must guide every move." Ensign Kell leaned forward, eyes wide. "Captain, look at the Zathar fleet. They're changing course in response to our hidden simulation. They don't realize it, but they're reacting to us." Merrick's lips curved in a thin smile. "Yes, Ensign. And that is the moment humans have always waited for. The moment when our unpredictability meets their certainty. That is when we show what we are capable of." Outside the ship, the holographic projection of the Battle of HFY glowed brighter, the simulated fleets moving like dancers in a deadly ballet. The Krell Dominion surged forward, aiming to trap the Vern in a massive encirclement. The Vern responded perfectly, using maneuvers predicted by their AI. But then Athena introduced human-style feints, small, unexpected movements that confused the Coalition's system. "Captain, look at the chain reaction," Rains exclaimed. "The Dominion fleet is splitting, reacting in ways the simulation didn't calculate. They're making mistakes." Merrick's eyes sparkled with determination. "Exactly. Risk is their weakness. They rely on certainty. They trust their machines. But humans, we trust our minds. And sometimes we break rules to create opportunity." Patel studied the holographic data. Athena has found several sequences where human maneuvers consistently outflank the Coalition fleets. "Even the Zathar's predictions fail," Merrick nodded. "Then let's see how far we can push it." Inside the hidden parallel simulation, Athena moved the human fleets boldly. Ships feigned attacks, retreated only to strike again from unexpected angles, and coordinated assaults that no machine could fully predict. Every maneuver introduced a ripple that the Coalition's simulation felt but could not fully respond to. The alien admirals, still believing they controlled the simulation, began noticing subtle irregularities. Admiral Thalrin of the Zathar furrowed his brow, his glowing eyes scanning the data. Something is influencing the fleets. Indirectly, the simulation is reacting to forces outside its calculations. "Identify the source." His aides scrambled to analyze the network, tracing every algorithm, every pattern, but every line of code pointed only to the normal simulation. Nothing could explain the anomalies. Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick remained calm. She knew the Coalition would never suspect the truth. That human ingenuity, filtered through Athena, was quietly rewriting the battle. The simulation intensified. Fleets collided in massive formations, plasma streams lighting the holographic void like fireworks. The Krell Dominion, confident in their aggressive strategy, charged forward. But Athena's hidden simulation anticipated their moves, guiding human-style countermeasures. Fleets feinted, split, and reformed, striking weak points the alien algorithms could not predict. "Captain, the Zathar fleet is reacting," Patel said in disbelief. "They're adjusting every maneuver in response to human strategies. Their algorithms are trying to learn from us." Merrick's expression hardened. "And they will keep learning, but it may already be too late. Risk, creativity, and unpredictability, these are traits machines cannot replicate. The moment humans introduce them, perfection falters." Kell, exhausted but exhilarated, whispered, "It's like we're actually winning, even though this isn't real." "Winning is a mindset," Merrick replied quietly, "and sometimes even the idea of winning changes reality." Hours passed as Athena guided the human fleets with skillful precision. The hidden simulation became a battlefield of intuition versus calculation, imagination versus prediction. The coalition fleet struggled to maintain order, their algorithms failing to anticipate human maneuvers. Ships collided in unexpected ways, formations fractured, and the holographic display showed subtle chaos spreading across the battlefield. "Captain," Patel said, her voice tight with excitement, "Athena has discovered a decisive sequence. If executed correctly, the human fleets can force the Zathar fleet into a retreat without them realizing it." Merrick's eyes gleamed. "Do it, but carefully. Every move must look natural. Let the galaxy believe it is still their perfection controlling the battle." Athena's calm voice replied, "Acknowledged, Captain." Initiating sequence. The human fleets moved with bold precision, striking in unexpected ways. The Zathar fleet, confident in its algorithms, attempted to counter, but every calculation failed. The hidden human strategies were too complex, too unpredictable. The holographic display showed a ripple effect as coalition fleets faltered, their previously flawless maneuvers breaking apart under the weight of human ingenuity. Admiral Thalrin stared at his monitors, his glowing eyes narrowing. "Impossible," he muttered. "The simulation should not behave this way. Every prediction fails. Every calculation is incorrect. There is an unknown factor, something outside the system." His aides exchanged uneasy glances. "Admiral, the humans are only observers. They cannot influence the simulation." Thalrin shook his head. "And yet they do. Observe closely. Trace every variable." "I want the cause identified immediately." Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick remained silent. She knew the coalition would never trace the influence back to Athena. The humans were invisible, a quiet force reshaping the galaxy's understanding of strategy and creativity. As the hidden sequence reached its climax, the human fleets executed maneuvers so bold that the alien algorithms could not respond. The Krell Dominion, caught in a carefully calculated trap, broke formation. The Vern fleet, misled by feints, left openings for human-style attacks. The Zathar fleet, despite its advanced algorithms, began retreating to avoid catastrophic losses, even in a simulation. "Captain," Patel said, her voice trembling with excitement, "they're retreating. The human strategies, our hidden game, has forced them to pull back." Merrick's expression was calm but victorious. "Yes, that is the moment humans have always waited for. The moment when ingenuity and courage defeat certainty. Machines, algorithms, even centuries of experience cannot replace creativity." Kell let out a low whistle. "We actually did it." "We won." Merrick shook her head slightly. "Not one, Ensign. We've only begun. But we've shown the galaxy something important. Humans are not predictable. We adapt, we risk, we imagine. And that is why we endure, why we survive, and why we excel." As the simulated battle ended for the day, the coalition fleet slowly returned to their starting formations, unaware of the hidden human influence. Admiral Thalrin leaned back, frustrated and uneasy. His monitors had shown unexpected results, and yet he could not identify the source. Meanwhile, on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick addressed her crew. "Today we demonstrated something important. We are not just observers. We are innovators. We are thinkers. We are humans, and even in a system designed for perfection, we have shown that creativity and courage matter." Patel and Rains nodded. Even Kell, exhausted but exhilarated, felt pride swelling in his chest. Humanity had taken its first hidden step toward changing the galaxy's understanding of intelligence, strategy, and courage. Merrick looked out at the stars, the distant fleets of the coalition glimmering faintly below. "We've shown the power of unpredictability. We've tested the limits of calculation, and soon, the galaxy will see that humans are not to be underestimated." The ISS Vigilant Dawn drifted silently among the stars, carrying with it the quiet, invisible force of human ingenuity. The hidden game had begun, and the galaxy had already started to change, one unexpected move at a time. The stage was set for the final confrontation, a moment when human creativity and courage would face the galaxy's perfection head-on. And when that moment came, no one, not even the most advanced aliens, would forget what it meant to underestimate humanity. The ISS Vigilant Dawn drifted quietly through the starlit void, its hull reflecting the faint light of distant suns. Inside the ship, the bridge was alive with quiet energy. For days, the crew had observed the Coalition simulation, running Athena's hidden parallel scenarios, introducing human unpredictability into a system designed for perfect calculation. And now, the final moments of the simulation had arrived. Captain Elena Marique stood at the central console, her eyes steady on the holographic battlefield. The fleets of the Coalition, Krell, Vern, and Zathar, moved with precision, yet subtly shifted, responding to human strategies they did not understand. The hidden influence of Athena's simulations had created a ripple that the aliens could feel, even if they could not see it. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Aisha Patel said quietly, "this is it. The final sequence. Athena's strategy is ready. If executed correctly, the human-style maneuvers will completely outmatch the Coalition's predictions. Even the Zathar cannot anticipate it," Merrick nodded. "Proceed. But carefully. Every move must appear natural. Let them believe it is still their system controlling the battle." The holographic display flickered as the fleets moved. The Krell Dominion, aggressive and overconfident, surged forward, expecting predictable counters. The Vern fleet, cautious and precise, prepared to exploit any weakness. And at the center, the Zathar Grand Command attempted to maintain control, calculating outcomes across all variables. But Athena's hidden human-style maneuvers began to take effect. Feints, retreats, sudden flanking attacks, all seemingly reckless, introduced chaos into the Coalition's perfect system. Fleets reacted in unexpected ways, formations broke apart, and algorithms failed to predict the outcomes. Every ripple caused the alien fleets to falter. "Captain, look at the Zathar," Rains whispered, pointing at the display. "They're retreating. They're making decisions to avoid losses we didn't even anticipate." Merrick's eyes sparkled. "Exactly. That is human ingenuity, unpredictability, risk, and creativity. Machines cannot calculate courage, and no algorithm can predict imagination." Kel, young and amazed, let out a low whistle. "We actually did it. We beat the simulation. Even their perfect algorithms failed." Merrick's voice was calm but proud. "We didn't just beat it, Ensign. We taught it. We showed that perfection can falter in the face of imagination." In the Coalition Command Network, Admiral Thalrin stared at his monitors in disbelief. The simulation, which had run flawlessly for centuries, now displayed outcomes no one could predict. "Impossible," he muttered. "Every calculation is wrong. Every prediction fails. Something human has influenced the system," his aides tried to explain. "Admiral, the humans are observers. They cannot affect the simulation." Thalrin shook his head. "And yet, they do. I cannot trace the source, yet the results are clear. The simulation has changed. Human influence is undeniable." Meanwhile, on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick addressed her crew. "Today we've done more than observe. We've shown the galaxy that human creativity and courage cannot be measured or predicted. We've reminded them of something they may have forgotten, that thinking differently is just as powerful as thinking perfectly." Patel smiled, her eyes reflecting pride and awe. "Captain, we've changed their understanding of strategy. Even without direct contact, they've learned something about us." Merrick nodded. "Yes, and that is the legacy we carry. Proof that humans cannot be underestimated. That imagination can surpass even the most advanced machines, and that courage and creativity are as important as technology." As the simulation ended, the Coalition fleets returned to their starting positions. The holographic battlefield slowly faded, leaving only the faint glow of distant stars. The human crew, tired but exhilarated, exchanged quiet smiles. They had done what no one expected. Ensign Kell spoke softly. "Do you think they'll ever know it was us?" Merrick shook her head, smiling faintly. "Perhaps not. But they will feel it. That is enough. Our work does not always need recognition. Sometimes the impact is enough to change the galaxy's understanding," Patel added. "And they will remember this simulation. They will study it. Even if they never know who caused the unexpected outcomes, the lesson will remain. Perfection can fail against unpredictability." Rains, leaning back in his chair, nodded. "Humans are remarkable, Captain. I never imagined we could leave such a mark without firing a single shot." Merrick looked out the viewing window, watching the distant glow of alien fleets. "Remarkable, yes, but that is who we are. Always have been. Always will be. And the galaxy is only beginning to realize it." Days later, the Coalition held a formal debrief. The alien admirals convened to analyze the simulation results. Admiral Thalrin stood before his peers, his expression unreadable. The outcome of the Battle of Akar Prime has demonstrated anomalies we cannot explain. Every variable was calculated, yet the simulation yielded unexpected results. The human presence, though passive, has introduced factors we did not account for. They have reminded us that intelligence is not only logic but creativity, not only calculation but courage. Other admirals murmured, astonished and uneasy. The humans, still observers, had challenged the Coalition's assumptions. Without firing a weapon, without directly interfering, they had left a mark that could not be erased. Back on the Vigilant Dawn, Merrick gathered her crew. Today we've accomplished more than observation. We've proven a simple truth. Humans are unpredictable, courageous, and creative. These traits are our strength. And as we move forward into the galaxy, we carry this truth with us. No one, not even the most advanced civilizations, should ever forget it. Patel smiled, glancing at Athena. Captain, Athena has recorded every move, every sequence. Our strategies are saved. We can continue to learn, continue to adapt. Merrick nodded. Good. Humanity must always improve, always imagine, and always challenge the expected. That is how we survive, how we excel, and how we inspire. Even young Kell felt a new sense of purpose. Captain, this changes everything. We're not just humans. We're unpredictable. We're capable of anything. Merrick's gaze softened. Yes, Ensign. That is exactly who we are. Weeks later, the human crew returned to Earth for debriefing. The Battle of Akar Prime was discussed in alien councils and human academies alike. The Coalition's war colleges began studying the results, noting that human thinking, risk, intuition, creativity could disrupt even the most flawless algorithms. The phrase "the Vigilant Protocol" became a symbol of human ingenuity. Across the galaxy, scientists, strategists, and military leaders spoke of the humans' hidden influence, their courage, and their unpredictability. Humanity had begun to earn a reputation not only as explorers and diplomats, but as a species that could challenge perfection itself. Captain, Merrick stood on the bridge one last time before the crew departed for Earth. She looked out at the stars, her heart full. We came to watch, she said quietly, but we changed everything, and the galaxy has learned a lesson it will never forget. Patel smiled. And we've only just begun, Captain. Merrick nodded. Yes, humanity's journey has just begun. And as long as we keep imagining, risking, and daring, no challenge is too great. The ISS Vigilant Dawn turned toward home, carrying with it the quiet, unstoppable power of human creativity and courage. The hidden game had ended, but its lessons would echo across the stars for generations to come. Humanity had been underestimated, but never again. In the darkness of space among alien fleets and distant stars, one truth had become clear. Humans were not just observers. Humans were changers of the galaxy, and that was a power no machine, no algorithm, and no alien could ever fully control. The galaxy had seen the first ripple of human ingenuity. Soon it would feel the full force of humanity's courage, creativity, and imagination. The hidden battle had ended, but the legend of the Vigilant Dawn had only just begun.